In the past 2 years, I started working seriously for school and I became first in my class. But I felt like I had to work a lot to stay excellent, to stay the best. But 3 months ago, I decided to start a business and I put all my focus into it. I did just the minimal amount of work for school, like some homework, I worked for some tests, but really not much at all. And what's so weird is that I kept exactly the same grades. Even recently, we had big exams, and I'm the only one in the whole school who got a perfect grade in both maths and physics. Now, I'm not saying this to brag, but just to show that there is something interesting here. Because I worked much less, but I got exactly the same grades. Why did this happen? I asked myself this question, and I think I found the answer. So I've been reading Psycho-Cybernetics recently, which is like a classic book of self-improvement that talks about self-image and how important it is. I think that's actually the answer to my question. Because even though I worked much less, I still saw myself as that student, as the student who gets the best grades, you know? And so when I went to school, I acted exactly like that student. When I was on tests, I still acted exactly the same way because I saw myself as the top student. I acted like the top student. So maybe it's not really about the work, maybe it's actually about how you perceive yourself. I think it's actually a very important factor. But if you go to the test feeling like you're a shit student, well, you're gonna have trouble to have good grades because your self-image is much different than this. So there's a lot of friction from acting like a top student. But for me, it felt normal for me. It felt easy, it felt frictionless. My self-image was that of a top student, and so I acted exactly like it. Now, another factor that also had probably a lot of impact is the fact that I've worked a lot this year. Like before I stopped working, I spent a lot of time working on math and physics and all that stuff. So it might also be that I just became good at this and I didn't even need to work much to succeed. Maybe my work from before is still paying dividends. I think the self-image is also a great explanation for this. That might be the secret, you know? Like, how is it that I don't work at all and I get better grades than those who work and spend hours working? How can we explain this? Well, maybe the self-image. That makes sense. Because I also see this in other situations. Because, you know, I've been trying to improve my social skills for a long time now, and I always feel this friction because in my mind, I see myself as an introvert, as someone who's not really social, not really talking to much people. And when I try to be that social guy that you know, that smiles to everyone, that talks with everyone, I have trouble with this because there's friction from how I really see myself. You know, so it can also impact negatively. It's like if you see yourself as a bad student, you'll have trouble to study well and to have good grades. It's how you see yourself that determines how you act. No, I'd say your self-image is like the max that you can go to. So if you see yourself as a top student, you can be a top student, but you can also be a shit student. But if you see yourself as a shit student, you can never go higher than this. It's like it's the max that you can go to. Yeah, if you see yourself as the best, you won't necessarily be the best, but you'll be better. It's really interesting, this self-image thing. You know, I always thought it was kind of interesting but weird, and I never really used this. But now that I've really seen its impact with both my social skills and my grades, and so I'm gonna try and shape my self-image exactly like the man that I want to be. And you should too, I believe. Now you might ask, how do you change your self-image? How can you change how you see yourself? One thing that I know works is visualizations. Before doing something, take your time, close your eyes, and visualize exactly how you want to act, how you will act. And then, because the thing is, your mind cannot see the difference between reality and imagination. If you visualize something, your mind will think that this is reality. And so you'll start changing your self-image. That's where you see people like, I think it's Conor McGregor, an MMA fighter who says that every hit he's done, he always visualized it before. Like it always happens exactly like he visualized it, because your mind will act like you visualized it. So that's why it's so powerful, really. So I'm gonna start and visualize things beforehand, getting into this habit, and I think you should too, because it's really valuable. And if you really want better grades, then start building the self-image of a top student. Start seeing yourself as that guy who gets the best grades, and you'll see that you'll start getting closer to this guy, to becoming this guy, and it'll stick with you, as you see with me. Because when I stopped working, I stopped doing the things that the top student does, and I still stay the top student. So it sticks with me, it's inside me. I'm a top student in my mind, and so I act like it. Of course, if I continue not working at all, I might have some time where I fail, of course. But So now it works, so it's cool. Alright, we're done here. If you want more videos like this, hit the subscribe button. And I'll see you back here in the next one.